Hi Jim, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me again.
I am delighted to be here, Xiang.
Now let's look at the world economy and markets. What are some things that worries you or concerns you the most?
What worries me the most is, of course, yes, for 5-6 years, all the major central banks have been printing huge amounts of money. It's the first time in recorded history, Xiang, that we've had Japanese, Americans, Europeans, Great Britain, all printing huge amounts of money. So we have this massive artificial sea, this artificial ocean of liquidity, which has made markets do well, but it's not doing much for the economy worldwide. And when it ends, and it's going to end, we're all going to pay a terrible price.
Recently, particularly, we're seeing China with neighboring countries, the conflict seems to escalate. But do you still think that any conflict will be restrained to a small-scale regional type of under-controlled conflict?
Well, let's hope so. Most of them in the past few years have been. Unfortunately, if you look back at history, you see that nearly all wars which have started over small incidents, but then one group of politicians makes a mistake and another makes. Next thing you know, 20-year-old kids are killing each other. I would suspect that sometime in the next 10 years, the world's going to have a bigger conflict.
I'm asking this because recently you said you prefer to hold gold coins rather than gold bars, because you say in the time of emergency, gold coins works much better if you're trying to cross a border or buying something, exchange something in a grocery store.
Well, if you go down to the grocery store, you really don't want to take in a 10-kilo bar of gold, because the shop probably cannot make change and probably will not make change. So it's better to have smaller units than big units in time of emergency. If we don't have an emergency, my gold is still going to go up or down just like the gold bar will be. But if we do have the emergency, my gold coins are going to be a whole lot better than gold bars. As I say, gold will go up, whether it's in the form of gold coins or gold bars, or it'll go down, whether it's in the form of gold bars or gold coins. But coins give me more flexibility.
How about China? We see actually just today there is another bombing in Xinjiang province capital Urumqi, and we have seen more frequent either bombing or security incidents, and also more mass protests across the country. How big a risk would this pose to the economy, and do you see the situation worsen, or do you think the government has everything under control?
Xiang, whenever you have bombs going off, people get worried, and you would too if you lived in Urumqi or a place where there were bombs going off. Of course, this will have a dampening effect. Certainly out in the West, where this is happening, is it going to be the end of China? I doubt it. Is it going to be the end of prosperity in China over the next couple of decades? I doubt it. I mean, conceivably, the Uyghurs are going to get more aggravated and agitated. People usually do when things are slowing down, and things are slowing down in China. So we may see, the British went through this with the Irish for many years. Many countries have suffered this sort of disaster. Maybe it's China's time, I don't know.
What do you think is the best way for the Chinese government to deal with this?
That's a brilliant question. I don't really know, because I haven't thought about it too much. I've been to Urumqi 3 times, but not any time recently. Normally the best way to do it is to try to come to some kind of accommodation so that the Chinese and the Uyghurs are satisfied and happy. Killing each other doesn't usually solve the problem. So no, you're going to see more and more social unrest. But we're going to see a lot more social unrest throughout the world, because we have an artificial situation where a lot of money is being printed, and yet many people are not participating in the recovery that everybody hoped for or thought would come, and many people's standard of living has continued to decline. In China, there is inflation, which is not good. So as economies continue to slow worldwide, we're going to see more social unrest. We're going to see more governments falling. We're going to see some countries falling.
Does those countries that you see falling include China, or?
No. I don't see China collapsing and falling. No. I suspect the Chinese government will not fall or fail. But you've seen what's happened in Egypt, Tunisia, you've seen with Syria, you see what's happening in many parts of the world. And there's going to be more social unrest throughout the world.
Recently this year, we have seen the RMB actually depreciate around 3% so far this year. That's, in your mind, definitely a short-term directional move. It's not going to change the long term.
3% Xiangji is not even worth looking at or talking about in a market. Markets have 3%, 13%, 23% corrections all the time. So yes, it's good that the Chinese currency is having starting to fluctuate. That's the way markets work. When it always just goes up, that's artificial.
Do you hold any virtual currencies like the Bitcoin?
No, I never learned enough about it. I wish I had. If I'd been smart, I would have bought it back in the early days when people first told me about it. I wasn't smart enough, didn't bother to learn. If I had, I might have made a lot of money. Or I might have lost a lot of money, you know. But I still don't know enough about it to have any investments. Bitcoins went up a lot. If somewhere along the line they're down and I learn enough about it, I might invest. Who knows?
Now, lastly, I just want to quickly ask you about your $2. How are the Chinese now?
Well, it's great. My older daughter in Singapore, they have a nationwide Mandarin speaking contest. She won it in 2013. If you went to a movie and you saw a blue-eyed kid was the best Mandarin speaker in a Chinese country, I'd walk out. I said, that's crazy. What are they talking about? But she won in 2013. She won it again this year. So their Mandarin is very good.
Jim, it's been absolutely an extreme pleasure to speak with you again. Thank you so much for taking the time.
It's my pleasure, Xiangji, and I hope we can do it again sometime.